Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearance of the Week. This is Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. We'll be giving you all the first appearance in your comic shops today. Now this week we have another good lineup for you guys. I think we have 3 first appearances, 7 honorable mentions, so 10 titles on all to go through, and there's definitely some books in there worth picking up for your collection. So let's go and get started for the first appearance of the week ending September 22nd, 2023. First up from DC Comics, Superman number 6. This features the first appearance of the Chained, a Doomsday-level threat. Now, the Superman standalone title, this is one of DC's stronger and more heavily collected titles, alongside Action Comics, Detective Comics, and the Batman standalone title. So the fact that they're introducing this new character or this new threat into the Superman standalone title, this may be one you want to pick up and add to your collection. Now, with all the DC comics, it really depends on what DC can do with these characters, if they can make these characters resonate with fans, and actually make these characters popular going forward, and therefore more heavily collected in the future. So this one here is going to be a little more speculative if you choose to pick it up, but like I said, maybe worth doing so because this is the Superman standalone title. This is one of the more heavily collected title series for DC Comics, and this here is the introduction of a new villain. So this one here, pick this up for a spec if you can. If you can't though, put it in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from DC Comics, Wonder Woman number 1. This features the first appearance of Emily and Amazon. This also features the first full appearance of the Sovereign. In addition, this here is the premiere issue of this particular title series, this new iteration of Wonder Woman. Now, the Wonder Woman franchise and the character did gain a lot of popularity with the Gal Gadot feature films, but you know, with James Gunn coming in to reboot the whole DCU, it's really hard to say how popular this character will be in the next few years. That's not to say in the future, it's not going to be a popular character. You know, Wonder Woman's been around since the 40s, and I'm sure the character's going to go into the future and still resonate with fans. But in the short term, you know, the popularity of Wonder Woman has faded a little bit. That being said, though, this particular issue does have the first appearance of a few new characters, and you know, like I said, Wonder Woman's not going anywhere, she'll be around forever. So this one here could be worth picking up and add to your collection. You know, for $3 or $4, you could be sitting on a huge winner here. If it goes nowhere, you're out $3 or $4. So in our opinion, this one here is worth picking up for a spec bet. Go ahead and grab this one if you can. If you can't, put it on your B-list and take a look at it later on. And finally, for Marvel Comics, Star Wars Dark Droids D-Squad number 1. This features the first team appearance of D-Squad, a team of droids led by R2-D2. Now, we always recommend picking up these Marvel published Star Wars titles. You know, Marvel and Disney is still churning out a ton of media, whether it's TV shows, streaming series, or feature films, and you really don't know where any of these characters or any of these teams are going to appear. If they hit the small screen, big screen, you know, collectors are going to race back to the comic books, try to find the first appearances, so they're always worth picking up for $3 or $4. So in their opinion, this is one you should pick up for your collection. Go ahead and grab this one. And now for the honorable mentions. From Whatnot Massive, the Blackout bombshell number 1. A private investigator woke up from a night of heavy drinking, wondering what had happened that led him to being hired to solve an important case and exactly how he was going to successfully complete the job. Now, Whatnot Massive is definitely a small press publisher. They haven't really had a lot of attention on their titles, but these are exactly the type of books that if you pick them up and hang on to them, and these stories get optioned for a small screen or big screen project, these are the books that blow up, you know, because these don't really have a heavy distribution, a lot of retailers don't carry them, and a lot of collectors don't really pick these up off the shelf. So there's not going to be a lot of them out there. So if this book does get optioned for a small screen, big screen project, you know, this book is going to take off. That being said, though, this is definitely going to be speculative. You are specking on to get an option, get a lot more eyes on this particular title. And if that doesn't happen, this is probably going to go nowhere. So this is definitely a spec bet in our opinion. Maybe worth picking up for the cover price. Grab it if you can for a spec. Otherwise, put it on your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Image Comics, Hexagon Bridge number 1. A couple find themselves trapped in a strange parallel dimension inhabited by mischievous entities, and their only hope of rescue is their clairvoyant daughter and a sentient robot. Now, this one here does sound like it lends itself very well to a small screen or big screen project, and Image Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up and optioned in the past. Now, like we mentioned before, any of these titles from these small press and indie publishers, if they do get optioned for a small screen or big screen project, that is a huge price driver for these books. And like I mentioned a moment ago, Image Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up and optioned in the past, and this here does sound like it lends itself very well to the screen. So this here is definitely going to be speculative if you choose to pick it up. It may be worth doing so for a cover price. So grab this one here for a spec if you can. Otherwise, put it on your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Image Comics, Jack Kirby's Star Warriors. Now this is a one-shot remastered reprint of Jack Kirby's first space epic, Atom Star and the Solar Legion. Now this one here we do think is definitely worth picking up and adding to your collection. You know, this is a remastered reprint of the original Jack Kirby story. And you know, Jack Kirby, huge fan favorite, hugely popular with fans. So this one here, the fact that they're actually remastering and reprinting this particular story, this is one we definitely think is worth picking up and adding to your collection. Even if it doesn't become huge in the future, it's definitely worth owning this reprint of Jack Kirby's first space epic. So this is one we do think you should pick up for your collection. Go ahead and grab this one. Next up from Image Comics, Junior Baker, The Righteous Faker #1. Now this is a 5-issue limited series about a gonzo journalist chasing superhuman stories in a world that's left superheroes behind. Now, once again, Image Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up on option for small screen and big screen projects in the past, and this one here does sound like it can lend itself very well to a streaming series or feature film. This is one that's definitely going to be speculative if you choose to pick it up, but the fact that it deals with this journalist chasing superhuman stories in a world that's left superheroes behind, this here is going to be a little bit more topical, because there is superhero fatigue in the cinema, and a lot of people are turning away from superhero stories. So the fact that this here deals with that particular issue, this one here does have some promise to get picked up. So once again, this is definitely going to be speculative if you choose to pick it up, but in our opinion, this here is a great spec bet. Grab this one here if you can. If you can't, though, put it on your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Dead Sky Publishing, The Left-Hand Path #1. Returning to their homeworld, a deep space crew investigates a ship that crashed there, killing everything, and what they find inside is a paradox that seems to have no center. Now, Dead Sky Publishing is definitely a small press indie publisher. They haven't really had any attention on their titles in the past, so there's not really any precedent for their titles being optioned for small screen and big screen projects. That being said, though, because they are a very small publisher, if this title does get picked up, there's not going to be a lot of them out there. It's definitely going to be a huge price driver for this particular issue. Now, this story does sound like it can lend itself very well to the screen. It's just a matter of getting there and getting option. So without any track record of doing so, this one here is definitely going to be speculative. Grab it if you can for a spec. Otherwise, put this one here on your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Boom Comics, Rare Flavors #1. A demonic Rakshasa has a dream to be the next Anthony Bourdain, and to achieve this, he enlists a filmmaker to document the people and the cuisine of India. But the creature has darker motives than what's on the surface. Now, Boom Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up on option in the past, and this one here does sound like it can lend itself very well to a small screen or big screen project. With the Boom Comics and Image Comics and Dark Horse Comics, we do typically recommend picking up those particular issues for specs, because all those three publishers do have a track record of getting a lot of their stories optioned. And this one here, like I said, sounds like it can lend itself very well to the screen, so this here is a great spec in our opinion. Grab it if you can for a spec, otherwise put it in your B-list and take a look at it later on. And finally, from AWA Upshot, Rumpus Room #1. A billionaire with a hideous skin condition can only control the disease with a face cream harvested from human beings who are sent to their doom in his Rumpus Room. Now, AWA Upshot has had some of their titles picked up in option in the past, and they're getting a lot more attention on their titles recently. So this one here we do think is a great spec bet. This story sounds very translatable to the small screen or big screen, so this one here, in our opinion, does have great potential to be picked up in option. So this one here is a great spec in our opinion. Grab this one here for your collection if you can. If you can't, though, put it on your B-list and take a look at it later on. So there you have the 10 titles we have for you guys this week. There's definitely some books in there worth picking up for your collection. So please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.